I remember when I was like, every job I had as a teenager, I had this mentality about like, you fuck the employer, we should all be stealing.
Yeah.
And I would just like announce, like I would steal things from my grocery store job and be like, yeah, of course you steal. Fuck these people.
Right.
And like just getting blank stares from other employees.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. They just don't.
No.
Like you don't think that way?
No. And they really, truly don't.
Nick, you're being a bad team member.
I got told on. At a grocery store job, yeah, some fucking
by another underling,
by the guy that was fucking old ladies in the
tattled on me, and the manager liked me too. He was like, "Did you steal?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Come on." And he's like, "I would have bought it for you." I'm like, "No,
it's not
your
what
money.
it's about, man. We're friends."
Yeah, it's nothing personal. He's like, "We got to fire you." He's like, "I called." He's like, "I called corporate. I tried to do everything I could. We got to fire you over a fucking candy bar."
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Was that the same grocery store where the Mexican guy claimed to be having sex in the back?
Oh, they did not fire him for that.
Salute to that man, dude, again.
I was friends with a guy in night school when I was like 15, 16 that was like, he was like a Crip or whatever.
Cool.
Yeah, and he was actually a nice guy. I liked hanging out with him, especially because he had a car and he would like, give me a ride home, which was nice.
And he'd like make you suck his dick?
Yeah, I would have to suck his dick, to be in the gang.
You gotta suck. You gotta suck dick.
He was just a guy in a blue shirt. He wasn't even a Crip. He just
and so like he was the white guy, and then the rest of them were like black guys.
Oh,
or whatever.
the craziest one according to Chappelle.
Yeah. And they would just walk around the mall. I don't know. That was like mostly what they did as a gang. One time they like sort of implicated me in this like robbery. I had to like participate in like robbing this fucking kid. I was just like waiting on a ride home. I don't know. They're gonna like rob this kid. This plan was retarded. It was basically like
it was a bad plan.
Yeah. He was like, not the guy I was friends with, but his friend. He's like, all right, here's what we gonna do. We gonna roll up, and then I gotta talk to him on the phone, but he can't see me, so it's got to be you going to sell him the ecstasy. And I'm like, what the fuck are you? What?
Yeah. You're
telling this guy that I'm going to meet him there, and then you're going to come rob him. Like, I don't understand why you just don't rob him.
Right.
He's like, no, I need you. Like, it has to be you. So I have to go meet this guy in this like field, and then they're going to pull a car around.
Jesus.
And, like, back and so like I meet this guy in this field. I'm like, oh hey, like I'm making a small talk with him. He's got a beer. I'm like, oh, what kind of beer is that? Like just trying to be friendly. I'm like, I have no idea what the fuck is going on.
Jesus.
And they like back the car. They start like backing the car, and
beep,
he like right.
Beep,
it's not, but it's like fucking.
It's
like
obvious.
the guy turns around. They're like 30, 45 feet away at the end of this like small fielded area. Yeah, and the guy's like looking at the car, like he's he like sees them. And so I'm like,
what is he? Is he asking you questions?
No, I played it where I was like, who the fuck is this?
Oh, interesting.
And he's like, I don't know. I'm like, do you know these people or whatever? Like, I just turned it on.
Pretty good at crimes.
Yeah. Well, that's why I also asked him what kind of beer it was, so I could take the beer away from him, so he couldn't fucking hit me with it or something. So I was like, I did a couple of smart things.
Yeah. A couple of criminal things.
Yeah, and then so
was he wearing a wire?
Yeah, he was wearing a wire, and I
had a fucking wire.
This guy's wearing a fucking wire.
Yeah.
Anyway,
and then so they walk up. They walk up and like walk past us. They just walk past us standing there. Like, and they have like masks on their face, but the kid sees the guy that called him, and he's like, "Yo, Dale."
Jesus.
And then
Christ.
they kind of like stop for a second, and then the guy I was friends with was just like, all right, fuck this. And he like pulls out like one of those mini baseball bats, just starts like wailing on the kid's fucking head.
Oh,
with it.
Jesus.
Yeah. And then I just turned to that kid's girlfriend. I'm like, give me the money, I guess. And yeah, we like took their money.
You took the money?
Well, I mean, we came all that way. And they were going to fucking, I was like, I didn't, this was
How much money did you make?
$40 is what they got off that kid.
For that guy having literally bleeding in his brain.
They dinged him a couple times, but he ran off. He was fine.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Why the fuck were you implicated? You just hanging out?
I just wanted to ride. I would get rides home from the guy.
Right.
Because I didn't want to take the bus.
Did you hang out with him after that?
Yeah, I mean, he still had a car.
Damn, it would have been so easy for you to become a criminal. You were so close.
Well, that's a crime.
Right.
Like,
but I mean, like,
yeah,
you were close.
Well, and it was funny because that kid was friends with this other guy I know who's not like a thug or whatever, but he is like physically fit and kind of intimidating.
Yeah.
And that kid like told that other guy that I know, he's like, yeah, these guys robbed me and like, you know, like said my name or whatever. And he's like, yeah, he wouldn't fucking do that. That's not him. And then so like he found out that it was those like the Crip guys or whatever.
Right.
So he confronted like the head guy, you know, the guy that's like set me up to it. He's like, yo, so this is what I heard happened by this guy. So I'm just letting you know, like, I'm not gonna come looking for you, but if I see you, like, I'm gonna fucking like put you in the hospital. Like,
Jesus
you're gonna be
Christ.
like severely fucked up. You like completely fucked up. You robbed the wrong guy. And this guy was like, man, honestly, I don't want no problems with you. That was entirely Nick. That was 100% Nick's plan. Like
What?
Yeah. So like, that guy like Antron calls me and he's like, this guy's saying it was like you that did it or whatever.
Jesus Christ,
And I was
dude.
like, yeah, no, of course it wasn't me. You know what I mean? He's like, yeah, that's what I thought.
Damn,
But
you were,
yeah.
but that if that guy's just
No,
a
that guy was
dumber
just a
person-
complete fucking like coward. He like,
Yeah.
you know, set up this whole fucking plan, didn't want to actually be involved with it.
Right.
But he was like a black guy. You said he was like a Crip or whatever. So the fucking white guy I knew, who was actually kind of like a criminal.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, like fucking was enamored by this like black guy
Right.
that was like, you could be in our
Hilarious.
gang.
That's so
Meanwhile,
funny.
he was like a fucking, you know, he was a joke.
Right.
Yeah.
Damn, dude.
Yeah.
Whew. Race relations in our country, huh? Pretty.
No, I felt bad for
Complicated.
that kid, the one that wanted to be in the gang. When he like, I remember there was one time where he had a falling out with that dude, and he had this like, you know, moment where you could see the disillusion in his face when he's like, man, I'm more real than him. Fuck him.
Yeah, yeah.
His whole like walking.
Can't
around
even
the
believe
mall
in the
gang
Crips
fell
anymore.
apart. Yeah.
My friend in college had a high school friend that became like a mafia like you know, soldier, I guess.
Yeah,
is that what it is?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
where you burn the card and they pinprick your finger.
Yeah,
and you
yeah,
have to
and then they
touch
kiss each
blood
other,
in the
yeah.
basement of the pizza restaurant.
And then you gotta kiss a priest.
Yeah.
You can only
You gotta
eat
kiss a priest on the
lasagna
wire.
for 3 months.
So this kid, I mean, they just used to have hours and hours of stories about this kid, Vinny Lucarelli.
That's. I mean, with that name,
Yeah,
you gotta
Papa
be the
Vin.
mafia.
Yeah, so Vinny apparently has been doing steroids since he was like 14. Had
Hell
to go
yeah.
through like doorways sideways.
Like, his testicles are so small.
because it's so, like so wide.
Yeah.
I mean, this might be urban legend.
I think
but they said
literally
that
it
they
is,
were
yes.
driving. They were driving in their car. They saw Vinny like on the side of the road in Port Jefferson, which is like Port Chester, which is like in Westchester, New York.
Yeah.
And they see Vinny, and he's squaring up with this dude over money or something, and he just knocks him out. And they drove on the way. They were like going out that night. They drove back down the same road in the opposite direction like 8 hours later, and the guy was literally still there.
That's fucking hilarious.
So funny. Yeah, Papa Vin. And then I used to like text Danny like ironically like, yo, how's Papa Vin? And he's like, oh, Vinny's dead, dude.
Jesus
He
Christ.
died a couple of years ago. Yeah, he died.
How'd he die?
I forgot. I got to get the info from Danny. But
You got crushed accidentally by a garbage truck.
Fuck learning, dude. You're 30. You don't learn shit anymore.
Learning's
you get,
over.
It's all about being
learned-
stuck in your ways.
I've learned
That's
plenty.
my shit, dude. I'm not only am I stuck in my ways, I'm getting worse.
I've learned plenty of shit.
I promise you. It's me. This is me, except even more reactionary. And now I shoplift.
Even though you have enough money for anything.
I
you
know.
want.
Now I shoplift, and I'm curmudgeonly.
Sometimes I seal at the airport out of principle.
Oh,
I
yeah.
used to do it
all the time. I love doing it. There's
I
a
used to steal
certain place.
porn.
There's a certain part of like LaGuardia that I steal from constantly. Almost every time I'm there, and every time I do the whole like, well, where's the cash? Where's the cash register?
Always.
I
dude.
pretend like I'm looking around.
Looking
for it.
around.
I put on a
Wow.
play.
I guess I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm ready in case anybody stops me. I'm like, oh, I
Right.
didn't even.
And then there you're just in the security office, and there's another guy that's like fucking like,
yeah.
I'm fine, like gesturing, like, where is the cash register? I don't know where. And then he's in there too.
That is really like a perfect crime. Like you get on a plane, you
Perfect
fly
crime.
away. You know?
Yeah, come find me and fucking
Find me.
And it's New York, so it's nothing but like professional actors getting caught.
Yeah.
And they're in the security office, like knowing that not only do they get caught stealing, but they're bad at acting.
Yeah. That is the ultimate fucking failure for them.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we've never been caught, because we're beautiful actors. Dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
should-
acting just comes naturally.
My
You
thing
don't
is,
have to take classes.
I pretend I'm looking for the cash register, and they're like, "Sir, are you going to pay for that?" I'm like, "I don't know where my mom is.
I don't know what kind of accent that is. Man.
I don't know where my mom went."
And you just commit for hours.
Yeah, right. They're like, "You're here alone. You have a passport. You're headed to Geneva alone. I'm pretty sure you're
Just
not
give
retarded."
us the $7 and stop pretending.
Yeah.
For this
You're,
Voss
you're
water.
stealing Foreign Affairs magazine. I look at it for the puzzle in there. I thought it said Cookies magazine.
Cookies magazine. Oh yeah.
Your Honor, my client was looking for Cookies magazine. 7 months. I've just been in jail the whole time. I'm like, listen, if they let me out of jail, they're going to follow me. They're going to know I'm not retarded. So I'm going to stay in here and continue to get brutally raped and taken advantage of. Taken advantage of. They're like, yeah, somebody's like, yeah, hey, Scooter, you want some ice cream? I got an ice cream cone for you. I'm like, oh boy, I guess I had to lick the ice cream again.
Yeah, we keep raping this man who pretended to be retarded.
He thinks we don't know.
He was just trying to steal a Foreign Affairs magazine.
Yeah. And it's like, then it's like my redemption story is like, I teach the other inmates how to pretend to be retarded so that they can like get off, but then they're all immediately executed by the state. It's all a bunch of black guys like, I didn't know I was raping that woman. And they're like, son, we've got a place for you. We got a big fancy chair for you. It's we flip this switch and it makes you smarter. It's that where they send computers into your brain. There's no reason to be scared. Sit there in that big chair and we're going to hook your brain up to the computers. Okay.
Oh, that's so sad.
Yeah, well, that's how they do it.
That is Texas, dude. Those stories of the alcoholism days are pretty hilarious.
Yeah.
Austin.
No, I want to start drinking again, just so I can make those kind of decisions. Man, I got pulled over one time. I had to like fly back to see my family for Christmas. It was the day before Christmas Eve. And I went out to a bar with like Joe Stats and I had like 9 beers. And me and Jake had fought the night prior to that. So I had like a giant black eye. And I had 9 beers, and then I took a beer. Somehow they just let me take a beer with me from the bar, which is not, I don't know. So I'm driving, and Joe's trashed too, and I'm like, I have like a tall boy on my lap. And then I pass by this cop, and I'm like, immediately I'm like, fuck, shit, fuck, you're a cop, fuck. And then the cop's following me. I'm like, shit. And then there's a red light, and I like pull halfway into it, like while the light's still red. And I'm just like fucking up. I'm like, God damn it. And then Joe's like, just take a left here, take a left here. And he's like, in my ear, and light turns green. I turn left. I've turned left onto like a divided highway. So I'm like going the wrong way down the divided highway. And Joe's like, just jump the curb, just jump the curb. And I'm like, no, man. I'm like, I'm fucked, So I'm like, I'm going to jail, and I fucking just pull off in the first side street. I put my hazards on, and I'm like, I can't believe this, dude.
Wait, the cop lit you?
I pulled over first before he could light me because I had fucked up. So I put my emergencies on. I just pulled over, and I was waiting for him. And then, I threw the hazards on. I'm like, I'm going to jail. I'm fucking going to jail. But then the cop pulled up behind me and threw the hazards on. And then, like, somehow he comes to the window. I'm like, I can't believe this shit. And I roll down the window, and the cop's like, hey, how you doing tonight? I'm like, yeah, I'm real sorry about that. And then, like, me and Joe were first of all, a lot of it is just white privilege. But,
yeah,
like, immediately I was like, yeah, fuck, I'm sorry about that.
I'm driving him home. He's giving me directions and he's fucking trashed, or whatever. Yeah. And Joe's like screaming already, he's like just hamming up how drunk he is or whatever. Cool. And I had given the beer in my lap to Joe beforehand. He just poured it on himself and crammed it under the seat. So the cop's like, okay, so you know why you're pulled out? I'm like, yeah, obviously he's driving the wrong way down the thing. He's like, okay. He's like, have you been drinking tonight? And I was like, I had like 2 beers, I was like, I had one with like dinner and then another one, just right before we left the bar, but I'm not like drunk or anything. He's like, okay, well, can you get out of the car just so I can make sure all that smell is coming from him? I was like, yeah, sure. And then still in my head, I'm like, I'm going to jail.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so the cop brings me around behind the car and he's like, just hang tight for a second. And then he like talks.
Just goes, just beats the shit out of you.
Yeah.
I'm going to whoop your drunkard friend.
Yeah. So they talk to Joe and they come back over to me and the cop looked just like David Bowie.
Oh, weird.
He looked like a buff, like a jack David Bowie.
Yeah.
Like a cop David Bowie.
He's like Major Tom the ground control.
Yeah. We've got a couple of black guys wandering around the back of the bank.
Young Americans. They were black and they were driving.
Yeah. And they deserved it. So this cop looked just like David Bowie, and like drunk part of my mind is like, tell him he looks like David Bowie. He'll think that's like cool. You'll ingratiate yourself to the cop. He's gonna be like, oh, for real, man?
I love the Star Child.
Yeah. Luckily I didn't. He was like, okay, like I do smell alcohol. He's like, you only had 2 drinks, and he's like, are you telling the truth? And I was like, yeah, it was 2. It was like 1 with dinner and then 1 just now. He's like, okay. He's like, I do smell a little alcohol in your breath. I don't think you're lying to me. If you'd said you hadn't been drinking, then we'd have a fucking issue. But, he's like, I'm going to let it slide. So he's like, what you want to do? And he like brings me back to my car and he's like, you just go around here, take a right and then, make sure you get on the right side of the road, coming around. I'm like, all right, thanks. And then I'm like just sitting there with Joe. I'm like, holy fucking shit. I can't believe that worked. And as I was saying that, the cop was like, he was back at the window. He's like, yeah, you forgot your ID, And I was like, thanks, man. Yeah. And I really have no idea how I got out of that one.
Yeah, I remember this. Trying to sober up before driving with jumbo slices. That would be my move.
Yeah.
I would drink
just
like
getting indigestion.
Just drinking all night long and then having like, well, if I have a jumbo slice,
I'm sober.
I'm good to drive.
Salute to a man that I've never seen drunk drive is without any fucking care in the world. It just was your plan to drunk drive. Like went into the day like, well, I'll go home, I'll get fucked up and I'll just drive drunk. I was like, okay. It got to the point where I was like, yeah, no, he's just going to do that.
Well, that's not true. But I mean, for the most part, like, if I had to drive any kind of significant distance, I wasn't doing it. And a lot of like the drunk driving I did, it was like, from fucking Wonderland to Dana's house in Edwards.
A couple blocks.
It's like 5 blocks. I'm never going over 15 miles per hour. Anyways.
Yeah. No, but I just remember being like, yeah, I'll just take my car, man. It's cool. I'll follow you.
Yeah, I mean, once you start doing that shit, it's like,
yeah, who cares?
Yeah.
Listen, you got out, brother. Mm-hmm. It's like Bubs didn't get AIDS.
Yeah.
After being you never got pinched. You never.
Yeah.
Well, there was that time you almost got, right? You got caught being drunk, driving the wrong way on the highway.
I did, yeah. There was that one time.
And you just sweet talked your way out of it?
Somehow.
You sucked the cop's dick.
Somehow, I guess the one time white privilege was ever real.
Yeah.
For the most part, it isn't.
It's fake.
But the fact that I could talk my way out of a DUI.
That happened on the wrong side, right?
Yeah.
Wrong side of the road, drunk as shit.
Yeah.
Me and my friends started driving onto an off-ramp of the freeway.
Hell yeah.
And then we realized that it was the off-ramp and we were smoking a joint and both drunk.
Hell yeah.
And then we got pulled over immediately. We like did a U-turn on an off-ramp. It was like a mess. And then we got pulled over immediately. And then my friend just said to the cop, we were trying to find P.F. Chang's. And the cop was like, it's like a couple blocks away.
Have a good day, boys.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
Let us off completely.
The comedy club in Austin, they would put comics up at this fucking hotel that was like 4 blocks. Literally 4 blocks. But it was... You have to drive.
Oh yes. Because in like it's like in a mall, like strip mall.
The club's
sort
there,
of.
and the club is right next to 183.
Yes.
And underneath 183, there's like a service, like an access road that runs underneath 183, and then there's on ramps onto the highway. So there's like these big like medians and
there's like jug handle turn left things. Too.
Yeah, kind of that shit.
Yeah.
So it was like, and I don't know if he'd like one. So there's a comic, funny guy, but like he was driving from Cap City to the hotel, which is like you could walk there in like 10 minutes. He's like, I'll just fucking drive my car over to the parking lot so it doesn't get towed overnight in front of the comedy club. And he like missed the turn and like made a U-turn. And while making a U-turn in the thing, they pull him over and he got a fucking DUI.
Oh, I would kill myself.
Driving like it can't even be like
a 3-minute drive,
half mile.
Yeah. Damn, that's what he gets for not exercising.
And it's just like if women are allowed to get abortions, I think men should be allowed to drive drunk.
Yeah,
women shouldn't be allowed to drive drunk.
Out.
But no, I mean, there's got to be something that we're allowed to get away with.
Mm-hmm. Because it's not fair that they can get abortions.
It isn't fair.
Whenever I hear of a woman
talk
getting
about
an abortion,
fucking equality or whatever, if women are allowed to get away with abortion,
every time I hear of like a girl, she's like, "Oh yeah, when I was in college, I got an abortion." I'd be like, "Lucky!" Like that sounds so fun.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah,
it feels good to them. Something's going into their pussy.
They probably get They come.
They love the way that shit feels. Women love having needles and vacuums shoved up in their pussy.
That's a good ass point,
and
man.
they just get away with it.
No, yeah, you're right about that.
We should be able to steal games from Target.
Now we're talking.
Yeah.
Yes.